All right, Leticia, thank you so much for joining us. First, tell us all, where are you calling in from? Where's this beautiful background we see you sitting in front of?
Right now, I'm in my house in Los Angeles, California. I've been here for a month now. I've been traveling a lot, and this this is the second month of the quarantine that I'm home in LA because I spent half of the quarantine in Brazil with my family, and then I went to Europe on a tour, and now I'm back home.
So you've been living a different life than a lot of us who haven't been on a plane in several months or in hotels. I'd love to know, I think we'd all love to know, first and foremost, what is it like to be a professional athlete in 2020?
It's amazing, I'm living the dream, and I get to skateboard every day. I get to travel. I get to meet new people. I get to compete, and it's just an amazing life.
So at the beginning of this year, you were looking forward to representing Brazil in the Olympics and the debut of skateboarding in the Olympics. How did you find out that the Olympics was being postponed, and how did you handle the news and sort of redirect your goals for this summer?
When I got the news, I was in Brazil with my family, and at first I was really bummed because I had my head in competition. I had my head ready to go to Tokyo, and I got really upset. But in the same time, that was the best decision they made. And after a couple of days, I started thinking, and I was like, it's gonna be better for us. We have another year of training, another year of getting ready, and it's gonna be even more exciting 2021. So I think it's gonna be a good thing.
Why was it important to you, and why is it important to you to be a part of skateboarding's debut in the Olympics? Why do you want to be an Olympian?
Olympic, it was always my dream, and I think that's gonna be the biggest competition we have. And I grew up watching Olympics. I always wanted to be an Olympian athlete, and it's gonna be a dream come true. So I'm really hoping the Olympics is still happening next year, and I hope I get to compete for the first time in skateboarding Olympics.
Like you said, you were in competition mode, right? That's a really focused, intense mindset that you have to get into the competition season. And then that went away. What was the biggest challenge that you faced over the past few years in a landscape without contests, having to shift your mindset into, a world dealing with a global pandemic?
So I never been this long without competing in a contest, and it was good because now I'm like my body's 100%. I had a couple injury last year, and I never had this time to recover and get my body to 100%. And I think it was just good to come down, chill, stay at home, like focus on other stuff, focus on getting your body at 100%. And for the first time in 5 years, I spent 2 months with my family, so I was really stoked on it. And but now I'm ready. I can't wait to start competing again.
What was that like being at home with your family? Tell us a little bit about that part of your summer. What did you all do? How did you stay connected to your sport while you were also having this wonderful time away with your family and
I
friends?
think the best thing about this pandemic was that I had time to be with family. So I went to Brazil. I was home for 2 months without getting out, and I luckily I have a mini ramp in my backyard in Brazil. So I was skating every day. I was doing a lot of workouts in the backyard. I have a really athletic family, so everyone's super active. So we're just doing sports every day, playing soccer, swimming. It was really fun. I had a really great time, and now I'm back in LA and I'm back on training mode. So I have a street course in the backyard so I can train more, and now I just been skating a lot.
How did you keep, you talked about the opportunity to get your body at 100%, right? That's such a unique thing to be able to do, to have time off without having been injured, and the injury gives you the time off, right? You're able to take this time and really focus on your body. What about on the mental side of things? How was that time for your emotional self and your mental state going into 2021?
Right now, I'm not in the competition mode. I think my head uh, shut it down totally because I haven't been competing. But since like I've been thinking about Olympics again, thinking about the competition, I already get really nervous when I talk about it. So I feel like the contest mode is like coming back, and yeah, like you said, we never have time to not think about competition because we have a lot of competitions a year. And even though we get hurt, we don't take more than like 2 3 months off and we have to compete again. So our head it's always thinking about a competition. And this time, for the first time, I was not thinking about competing for 3 4 months. And now that it's the end of the year is coming, I know the competition is going to start happening. So now I'm getting more excited and more nervous just to talk about it.
Are you someone who sets goals? How do you keep yourself motivated? You know, if anyone who follows you on social media can see that you're having a lot of fun during the pandemic, whether it's with your friends, whether it's skating, whether it's surfing, whether it's wake surfing, how do you then switch into that mindset of competition and start really focusing on your goals and keeping yourself motivated?
So what's motivating me? It's skating with my friends, having fun. It's different when you skate just for fun and when you skate to train for a competition. So right now it's like it's the best timing because I'm just skating for fun and going on the water, doing wake surfing, doing other sports. It really motivates me to learn more tricks and skateboard and skate more. And yeah, right now I'm shifting that button in my head. Like, okay, now it's the only training mode, no more like other sports, more like training than anything else. Because I was doing a lot of water sports in the past 3 4 months, and now I've been skating more than doing that. But I gotta do something different, so I'm always like doing a different sport. Like yesterday, I was playing soccer. I'll probably go wake surfing this week, but I've been skating every day.
You know, I mentioned briefly your social media. You know, you have one of the biggest and most engaged followings across, you know, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, of really anyone in action sports and anyone really in sports. You have one of the most engaged fan bases in sports. How, during this time, have you remained engaged with your fans, and how have you used social media to stay connected with both your sport and your fans? Is there anything that you've been doing that maybe you wouldn't have been doing if you were just bouncing from contest to contest to contest?
So I didn't change anything. What I do in my social media, I just show my life. I show what I do every day. I show my house, my friends, and I try to like show what I do when I'm not skating because when I like someone, I like to know what they're doing when they're not doing their sport, you know? So I just show my house, my friends, family. I post a lot of workout videos, skating in my backyard, and I just try to stay close to my fans and show them how my life really is.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the latest, greatest. You know, a lot of people are playing video games right now. I think video games and esports have taken off even more than they already had because of the pandemic. We're all at home. You're featured in the latest Tony Hawk Pro Skater. What did it mean to you to be a featured athlete in such an iconic game?
It was a dream come true. You know, I grew up playing video game, and I never thought I'd be on Tony Hawk one day. And it's crazy because I only realize when I go somewhere or I come home and my friends are playing with my character. So it's really crazy, and I play a few times, and it's amazing.
Are you any good at it? Do you have any tips for us if we're playing with the Leticia Bufoni character?
To be honest, I'm not really good at it. And then when I get lost, I just press all the button together. I go like this. Sometimes it works, but I've been actually playing a lot this past few days, and I've been learning new tricks. Like I know how to slide now. I know how to do a few tricks, and it's great. It's a really good game, and it's addicting.
When you play, do you play with your own character, or are there other characters who you like to play with?
When I play, I always play when my friends is around. So all they want to play is with my character. So I've been playing with my character.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It's a bit selfish to say that, but it's a dream come true. So I gotta play with my character.
You know, one of the things we've been talking a lot about is relationships with sponsors during this time, because there aren't contests. You're not able to go out there, wearing, your sponsor's gear, holding up product and winning contests. But you have an incredible list of sponsors and a lot of mainstream sponsors. What is your relationship like in this time? What are the expectations on an athlete like yourself during COVID, during this pandemic, and how are you working with your sponsors to fulfill those expectations?
I'm really grateful for my sponsors because they're great partners. I just been doing a lot of work with them, like social media stuff, and they've been so great to me. Like they're awesome, and I don't have to worry about not having competition and losing my sponsors because we've been working together for so long, and they know what's going on right now with the pandemic, and they're just hoping that we can start competing soon. But yeah, I'm grateful for all my sponsors, and yeah, it's awesome to have a great list of sponsors.
There's a lot going on in women's sports in general, and certainly in women's skateboarding. When you look across action sports, you see what Maya Gabeira did, a big wave surfing earlier this year, the kind of incredible tricks you're doing. We have young girls dropping in on the mega ramp now. What do you think is when you look around the landscape of women's sports around the world and in skateboarding in general, and what do you think about your role in pushing the progression of women's skateboarding and women's sports in general?
In women's skateboarding, it's getting really big, and it's amazing to be one of the pioneer. I call it because I feel like I'm older than everybody else that I'm competing with. So yeah, my goal is just to keep inspiring younger girls to start skating, and not just girls but boys too. And yeah, I hope I can get more people into skating, and it's only getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, those couple of months that you had at home, I remember years ago going with you to Sao Paulo and going to I remember going to the mall where you learned to skate, where your grandma used to take you, and going, to a lot of spots around the city. And there weren't a lot of girls or women skating. Has that changed? What is the scene like in your hometown when you go back to Brazil? Give us a little bit of a snapshot of what the skateboarding scene is like these days.
Yeah, so when I started skating back in the days, I'll say 16 years ago, I was the only girl in the skate park, and it took a few months to finally see girls skating, and I go back now, and every skate park I go, I see more than 1, 2, 3 girls skating, and it's only getting bigger and bigger. And when I started competing at X Games, back in the days, I was the only Brazilian competing, and now we have 4 or 5, and 5 out of the ranking, the top 5 out of the ranking, 3 are Brazilians. So the Brazilian girl skate scene, it's really big right now and really strong.
I have to imagine there's a bit of pride you feel looking around and seeing those other women and knowing the role you played in inspiring their careers as well.
It's amazing to have such a strong team, because back in the days, I was the only one competing for Brazil, and now we have a really strong team, and I think it's going to be great for the Olympics. I think Brazil's going to get a few medals.
So I know you have to get going, but the last thing I'll ask you is, we talk a lot about 2020. I'd love to know what you're most looking forward to in 2021. When you look into the next 6 months from now, the next year from now, what are you most excited about?
So my goal and my dream is to make to the Olympics. We're still going to have a few qualifying before the Olympics. And yeah, I just hope I do good in other contests, and I make it to Tokyo.
So I guess I'll ask you one more question. You have this big audience right now. I know you've been at home here in LA, not able to interact with a lot of folks. So what would you like to say to your fans and your supporters before you leave us today?
Keep skating, keep doing what you love, and never give up. Follow your dreams.
Wonderful. Leticia, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know your schedule's about as busy as anyone I've talked to lately. So we really appreciate you taking the time, and stay safe, and we can't wait to see you in person soon.
Thank you so much, and have a good day.